These days, 99% of games are standardized to one or two control schemes, keyboard and mouse or a modern gamepad, and often they work with both. This wasn't really the case with arcade games. Since arcade cabinets are bespoke pieces of hardware, it can use whatever control scheme the developer feels necessary without added cost to the consumer. This may be a joystick with some buttons or a flight stick or more. Missile Command ends up using a trackball and 3 buttons. If you don't know, a trackball is just a ball that you rotate to move a pointer on the screen, similar to a mouse. For some context, Missile Command is a game about shooting down missiles. The game has you controlling 3 anti-air missile launchers defending multiple cities from explosives raining down from above. Each launcher has a set amount of missiles. Once you run out, you can't shoot any more from that launcher. This means that you cannot just shoot indiscriminately, you need to be intentional about how you use your missiles. So why does the input method matter? A joystick is just way too slow and almost too precise. It makes it a lot harder to make sure you're leading your shots well enough to blow up the missiles in time. By the time Missile Command came out, the computer mouse was around a year out from regular commercial use. For the developers of the game, this meant that to get the level of control they wanted, they needed to use a trackball. But the trackball comes with a side effect. Missile Command as a game is stressful when you think about it. You're trying to protect these cities from total annihilation. If you don't notice a city about to be destroyed by a bomb you missed, you have to slam the ball quickly to the correct position to intercept the missile. You're inaccurate, but you have to try anyway. Because for many of the people playing this game, this was real. The game came out during the Cold War. Many of the people playing had been born in the 60s at the height of the Cold War. They would have done duck and cover drills at school in the event of an attack, and would be well aware of the tensions between the US and the USSR. The game reflects the brutal nature of the outcomes of a nuclear war. The game doesn't end with game over. It ends with the end. In fact, Missile Command gave one of the devs nightmares. The principal developer and designer on the game was Dave Thurer. As the deadline started creeping up on him and his team, he started to work more and more hours on the game. Reportedly, he started getting nightmares about his city being bombed by the USSR. I'll be honest, I don't think it had this much of an effect on other people, but I think the political climate the game of this type released in is interesting to talk about. So what is it like to play today? Missile Command has some actual complexity. If you've seen some of my reviews on arcade games before, I found most of them to be very simple. I would say that Missile Command is the first to buck this trend of overly simple arcade games. As a disclaimer, I played this using a remake on itch.io that allowed me to use my mouse pointer. This was the closest I could get to using a trackball, but it's not quite equivalent. And it's not just missiles coming for your cities. As the game progresses, there are new types of explosives that try to attack your cities. Missiles start to split into multiple, and there are planes and satellites that shoot from a lower altitude, giving you less time to react. The trickiest ones are the smart bombs. With the other threats, they can explode from the blast radius of the missiles. The smart bombs, however, will slow down and try to avoid explosions. This means that you need to hit them almost exactly, requiring great accuracy and timing. One of the biggest sources of complexity comes from resource management. I don't just mean using your missiles effectively so you don't run out. The central missile launcher shoots quicker than the outer two. This is especially valuable once you start getting smart bombs. The speed of the center launcher gives a much better chance of hitting them. Using up your missiles in the center launcher too early in the round can cause you to lose a city or a launcher, requiring you to spread your uses out to the other 2 launchers. I think the game is great, honestly. The complexity makes for a varied and fun game, the setting is interesting and intense. It makes sense to me why this game was part of the golden era of arcade games. While I don't think this game has a huge historical impact, it's plain fun. And that's probably why it's on the list of games considered the best. Thanks for watching. Next time on WikiQuest, I'll be playing Battlezone. Bye bye.